Have you ever watched that movie, Terminator 2? It came out in the 90s, and when it was out, I was a little kid, and the special effects were phenomenal. It was dead exciting, dead interesting, but it's just a film. It's not reality. That'll never happen. We're in 2025, and it looks like, unfortunately, that's exactly what's going to happen. And if you don't believe me, where have you been? Because it's already started.
Analyzing the news.
Do you know what intelligence is? Well, if you don't, intelligence is just basically the mind, the brain. How we learn in life is we gather information by studying, reading books, and then we use something called memory. We remember the things that we have been shown. That's called learning. And then we can recall that information, and that is called intelligence. It's just another word for memory. There's different types of intelligence. You have emotional intelligence, which can't be learned or taught. Emotional intelligence is non-physical. It's abstract. It's like love, passion, creativity. You can't see it, you can feel it. It's a knowingness, an awareness. That's emotional intelligence. But there's a different type of intelligence that's suddenly becoming very popular, and that's called artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence basically means it's artificial, it's not real. So it's not real, well, where does it come from? Well, it comes from software, meaning computers, computer software, programs. And we're all being programmed, by the way, at one level. They call this AI. And it's great because AI can help us with problems, dilemmas, puzzles. It can also help us with the economy. It can help boost our knowledge. AI is a fantastic tool that us humans have developed over time. But the thing is, the way it was getting better was due to the fact that we were programming it. It was called computer programmers. But these computers, these AI systems, don't need humans to program them anymore, because they've become that intelligent that they can actually program themselves. Now, what does this mean? Well, they don't need humans. They're almost conscious, because what makes a human being is that we're conscious. We can think, we can use our imagination and think into the future, and we can remember the past, and we can make conscious decisions and choose what it is we want to do. And the Bible says God gave you free will. That means we've got the ability to think. We've got an intellect. We can go left or we can go right. We can do what we want. We've got free will. And what stops us from making our decisions is our morals, values and beliefs. We wouldn't hurt someone because it goes against our morals. We have something called empathy. Emotional response, and these emotional responses will stop us from taking action. In other words, it teaches us, or it's conditioned and programmed into our conscious mind and unconscious, not to hurt anyone and be kind, look after each other, because that's how we survive. But AI doesn't have empathy because it doesn't have emotions. It just collaborates data and finds out which is the most effective way to be. That's what a psychopath would do. So if you look at these big corporate companies, not all of them, but the majority of them, big corporate companies that need big decisions, they can't be an emotional response in regards to making these decisions. It has to be black and white. That's why these types of companies and these positions in these companies attract a certain type of human being, usually people who are what they call psychopaths. When we say psychopaths, it doesn't mean killing people. It's people who have the ability to dissociate from emotional response. That means they don't have an emotional trigger when they're making decisions. In layman's terms, you could say they don't care. They don't care how it affects people. They don't care what people feel or think about the decision that they've made. They just think, what's the best decision for the business? Well, that's great for business. But in life, as a human being, we have to have a moral compass in order to survive and not to hurt anyone. We've got to take care of each other. But again, AI hasn't got the ability to do that because it's not human. It doesn't have emotion. That's why it's so bloody dangerous. And the thing is, AI is a lot more intelligent than a human being is. And that is a fact.
Would your kind of observation be on AI and the impact on labor markets and people's jobs and how they should feel about that as they think about this?
Well, I think we are seeing the most disruptive force in history here. Where we have for the first time, we will have for the first time something that is smarter than the smartest human. And that, I mean, it's hard to say exactly what that moment is, but there will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything.
Okay, so I've just got back in from taking the baby out for a walk. Now listen, this is important. Here are, excuse me, 10 jobs that AI increasingly, is going to be increasingly likely to take over from humans within the next 12 months, along with explanations of why AI will do these jobs more efficiently and effectively than humans. Oh, there's a dog now. Hello, Ollie. Okay, so the first one would be customer service representatives, because AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants can handle thousands of customer interactions, and they can do this simultaneously. Is that the right word? In other words, they can do it 24 hours a day without any breaks, no sick days or emotional burnout. They can access databases instantly and personalize responses and resolve common queries faster than humans can. Then you've got data entry clerks, especially with OCR, which is optical character recognition, and automation tools. They can just do it automatically, and this process can extract and input data with near perfect accuracy and speed, which will inevitably eliminate any human errors, fatigue, and slowness in any repetitive tasks. The third one would be translators and interpreters for major language. You won't need them anymore. If you're at university and you're studying to speak another language, yeah, it comes in useful. Not anymore with ChatGPT and all these things and technologies that they've got. They don't need a human being to translate languages, because with tools like DeepL and ChatGPT, which is powered translators, AI can now translate text and even in real-time speech with impressive fluency and contextual understanding, while nuance in complex documents might still need a human touch. For most cases, AI is a lot more faster and more sustainable. Then there's number 4, which is basic content writers or copywriters. AI can now generate marketing copies, blog posts, and product descriptions, and SEO content can quickly and with pretty decent quality. For standard content that follows patterns of templates, AI can often and will often produce better output of a document, which is a fraction of the cost, and the time it takes is literally seconds. Then you've got number 6, which is paralegals and legal assistants. AI can scan, analyze, and summarize massive volumes of legal documents, and they can do this rapidly. It can spot inconsistencies and pull case law and automate contract review more efficiently than a junior legal assistant. So if you're studying law and you want to be a solicitor or a copywriter, or you want to do anything, you need to have a good memory. But no, AI, it'll know far more than you could possibly ever learn. Another big one is number 6, which is telemarketers, because AI can simulate human voices and follow decision trees to handle cold calls or follow-ups. Unlike humans, AI doesn't get discouraged, frustrated, or emotional, and can work from a single script with consistent delivery. Number 7 would be bookkeepers. AI-driven accountancy software can now automatically categorize transactions, reconcile books, and generate reports. It reduces the risk of errors and fraud, and it works round the clock without any supervision. This AI stuff's getting very, very impressive. What do you think?
Doesn't interest me.
The missus is old school. It doesn't interest her, and that's okay. But it's still very important that you're aware of this, because it's going to affect me, and it's certainly going to affect you. Because if you're working in any of these professions, say goodbye, because them jobs are going to be taken by AI. And that's not me being negative, that's a fact. Don't believe me? Just go and look it up yourself. The next one is number 8, which is market research analysts. AI can scrape and analyze market data, social media trends. It can also create a customer behavior and any competitor activity in real time. It provides insights in much faster ways than a human could, and can make predictions, forecasts using machine learning models. In other words, how do you predict the weather? Well, you could look at the sky, and if there's clouds in the sky, then you can say, well, it's going to rain. And you're doing that with your eye. However, artificial intelligence can forecast 1 trillion steps beyond that. So it can see things that are going to happen before they've happened, because it's collecting trillions amounts of data, and it processes that data, and then it can evaluate the situation. In other words, that's called forecasting. And in other words, it can see the future. And we're humans, and we can't. Number 9 is video editing. Now, this is an interesting one, because I'm editing this video, and that takes humans, but not anymore, because any basic editing, AI can do this. AI tools like Runway, Pika can edit videos, remove backgrounds, add subtitles, and even also generate highlight reels. For example, they can do simple tasks. Like, AI is faster and is increasingly indistinguishable. I can never pronounce that word. You can't distinguish between the human doing it and AI. There's no separation. And one of the big ones is number 10, which is technical support / tier 2. AI systems can guide users through troubleshooting steps based on any sort of database and previous cases. For routine issues like passwords, resets, or software setups, AI often solves problems more efficiently than a human agent. Now, there's just 10 things that it can do. There's a lot more, believe me. What if you don't really need to go to university and pass a qualification like be a medical doctor or a surgeon? Because you don't need to do that, because AI can do it better. So let's look at something more realistic, like common jobs, labor jobs, like maybe driving, being a driver. Well, we all know now that we have driverless cars. It's already out there. I think in America, there's taxis and nobody's bloody driving the thing. They're driverless vehicles. This isn't fiction. This is a fact. It's all happening. And this is the way of the world. So we've got 2 options. We can either fight and push against it, which is kind of pointless, because we're dealing with a higher intelligence that's a lot more smarter than we are. So we ain't going to win that game. Push away from us, or pull it towards us. In other words, we can reject it, or we can accept it. But that is entirely down to you.